Greetings, this is Vane and welcome back to Let's Play Elder Scrolls Arena. Okay, let's create a save for this episode. There we go. Oh yeah, we're continuing to explore this dungeon. That. Ooh. Now that's novel, that's a diagonal wall. You don't see many of those. Last they don't show up as diagonals on the map. But yeah, it looks like that's all a diagonal wall taking out that corner. Yeah. It's quite noteworthy that, isn't it? Oh, we missed a door as well while we're there. There? Is that the one? Is it this one? Is it this one? No, it's... Yikes. Okay. See if we can kill this troll, but... As you can see, that troll's regenerating, so... Let's get away from there. I'm prepared to be followed by a troll for most of this dungeon then. Okay. I don't think I've got... Now I wish I hadn't got rid of all my stuff, of all those bits of fire that I had. The mark of wizard's fire and stuff like that could come in handy. Oh, because I don't think I've got any way to actually kill this troll. But apparently we closed the door and he's wandered away. So we may be lucky, he may have despawned as it was because we couldn't see him. Yeah. Not entirely immersion breaking. Lots and lots of doors here. Not entirely immersion breaking. Yeah, we've not seen this module either. In some of the previous dungeons we've been in, we've seen how the repeating modules work. To little random dungeons. Oh, I've also seen that there's a few small set piece dungeons that just have loot spawn points. Take both of those. Why? Oh, that's because it's that door. Okay, fine. It's because it's open. Not the door I'm looking for. Now, before I get distracted and run off up there, I think this is just a maze of chambers with doors, which, considering pretty much everything we've had has been fairly open so far, is a refreshing change. Yeah, as you can see, there's doors there and bits around, so we can deal with this. Can't let it distract me from my process, which is basically to hug the outer walls so you know where the edges are, and then fill in the middle. Kind of remembering that I need to keep an eye. I do actually need to keep an eye out for secret doors. But some of these modules do have them. But yeah. I think overall, Bethesda achieved a really good example in what they wanted to do of creating the first kind of sandbox tabletop RPG type experience. And they create some nice set-piece dungeons with random spawn points, and then the rest they did these with geomorphs, or dungeon modules, the same wilderness. And it really does give you, well, seemingly infinite dungeons to explore. And for your original D&D games, that's pretty much all you needed. You needed a dungeon, you randomly stocked it with random tables, and that would be, and then your players would explore it. Didn't need any big plots or epic storylines. So, okay, this is the game, this is how you level up and gain experience. Have at it. Okay. I mean, there are all sort of tips on how to build realistic dungeons, but in the early one, the accessories were basically, okay, here's a random dungeon maze, lots of exits that join up, you just put the pieces together. The rest is up to you. That's kind of why you get the random cliche of everyone meeting at the inn, because You didn't need anything more sophisticated than that cliche. You know, it's like, okay, everyone meets at the inn and decides they're going for an adventure to explore said dungeon. Doesn't matter why, they want to make a name for themselves. Okay. So with a minimum of fuss, you'd get a party together by creating your characters. Back at a time when a standard party for survivability had between 6 to 8 characters, because the rules were brutal. If you were high enough level or a suitable character or had a very good GM, you could go solo runs with less, but that quite often involved a lot of fudging. And never get too attached to your characters because a single roll could kill them outright. Which made the ones that did survive kind of spectacular. Now everyone wants to be a superhero at first level because no one wants to go for the grind of creating all these complex characters for them to die in the first encounter. And that was very much the reality in old school. Since its growth came out of... There's someone over there. There we go. Growth came out of miniatures gaming. Yes. That's you giving us 5 points. Okay. Okay, well we're getting more full than we need more, so I'm going to bolster my willpower a bit. Give us another point of magical defense because I keep getting wrecked by surprise spellcasters. And that brings that up a bit. Yeah. Ideally, looking at this, you want to focus. All combat characters really need agility, regardless, because not only is that defense, that's your to hit. You have to that's your hits chance. If you can't hit them, you can't damage them. So, and then it's like, okay, once you've got that, you want strength. But agility is clearly the stat to boost up first for most things. Then it's probably willpower for some magical defense, especially if, like me, you're getting wrecked. And endurance for your health to make you last longer. For a spellcaster, you'll normally focus a lot on intelligence, the same way I put all my extra on strength, simply because that gives you more spell points, and as a spellcaster, spell points are your life. Rogues, they do kind of suck in this game for 2 reasons. Basically, they can't use. I mean, basically, if you're gonna, it's a choice. You either use spells or you're using magic items. There is no combination. I don't think there's no combination of character that can use plate mail and can use spellcasting, as far as I'm aware. In this first game, you could easily create a custom class that did that in Daggerfall. Most people did, but basically you couldn't do that here. And the I've expressed before, the importance of plate mail is not just that gives you the best defense with the most armor, but only plate mail can be enchanted. So if you can wear plate mail, you can carry more magical items. Which means if magical items and stuff are replacing spellcasting because you can't cast spells, you know, it's the next best thing for those instances where you might need magic. Okay. I think we may have explored most of this area. Looks like that's the centre there. Yeah, it looks like that's the centre there where there would be stairs up or down. So it's like this corner here, okay. Well, before I start running off and going, whoa. Okay, so that is actually under the water. Goes. Come in here and do that. Yeah, that tunnel there. I might come round and explore that just to rule it, because that means I don't have to come back and do this area, this part of this area later. But yeah, that's the way to go. Unfortunately, rogues can't wear plate mail, and nor can they cast spells, so they don't really. They're kind of, if you want a challenge, you could try going with the game with a rogue. That's hardcore mode. I mean, there's a lot of like hybrid classes that, for example, many rogues you've seen in like Nightblades and stuff can actually use magic. So, in the context of this game, they're more technically wizards. They're not straight rogues. Rangers and archers count as warriors, but because of their lack of ability to use plate mail, they're better off being classed as rogues. That's why in my last playthrough, when I decided I was going to go with what I got with the character generation, I was a little bit miffed, you might say, when it decided I was a ranger, because a ranger cannot use plate mail, but also doesn't have any spells. And in most of these games, you do need spells. Not because spells are overly powerful, but because of the sheer versatility of spells. Otherwise you're relying on potions and stuff. So which means having to do shopping between each dungeon just to make sure that you've got enough of the basics to cover all the abilities you need. The same with marks, if you can find a mark of opening or a mark of levitation and whatever. And in that sort of context, it doesn't matter whether you're good at sneaking, backstabbing, or get a bonus when using ranged weapons. Let's see if we can do, but I don't think I can kill you. I might be. Come on. I believe you're a lich. which means that they can totally wreck me.
With you, die.
Yeah. Save scumming for the win. Thank you, Lizard Man. Much better than a lich, I'll take that one. I mean, Daggerfall was quite interesting. It added a lot of extra features. The main storyline was a bit more complex. It added skills and set the basis for a skill-based system rather than experience-based system, which still stands today. The ability to create custom classes. Yeah. And the ability to join guilds and advancing various guilds so that you could whatever. I mean, it was a. They even put in the manual that sometimes it's not. You might not want to reload saves if you failed a mission. But to be honest, you still do a lot of reloading because the biggest cause of failing a mission tends to be because you died, not because of you ran out of time or whatever. But yeah, you could have reputations with guilds. You could actually travel through the wilderness manually, going from one square to the next, if that's what you wanted to do. Basically, if you travelled far enough, you would get there. But it would take a lot of travelling, which was good. There was no... You still had fast travel, which is the way most things, and there were a lot of options. Way more towns, villages, dungeons. Unlike where here it's like, okay, you've got the wilderness between towns that's more or less infinite. Theoretically infinite. I think it's the best definition for that. To be fair. So yeah, Daggerfall was quite groundbreaking. I will probably look... I mean, I have both the... Because GOG has the Unity version, which a lot of people are playing at the moment. As well as the original in DOSBox. So I will probably do the original first and then kind of compare the two. The dungeons were much more chaotic, but the game itself was more buggy. I mean, the dungeons were because they were like proper 3D dungeons built out of similar idea to models, but rather than just being flat like this, they would actually be 2D, so you'd have spirals and underpasses and you can fall from one level to the other. The problem was you could just as easily fall through a wall or a ceiling going down and end up in the crazy space between dungeons walking on ceilings. Sometimes it was often quite buggy, especially with quests, because sometimes the stuff you would do, the flags would set or not set properly, or you'd get a random generation where it'd put. A big part of the quest is exploring what's going on with Daggerfall, and then for some reason it'd be like, okay, Daggerfall is in a random place, but it might spawn 1 or 2 Daggerfalls, and you get confused which one is supposed to be the one you're dealing with. So when you did search to try and find Daggerfall to get to it quickly, you'd often end up in the wrong place. That was a rare one. Yeah, the quest line itself was more like a web of intrigue, is the best way to describe it. Because you had various plot seeds, and you'd have to wait to a certain level before those would start, and sometimes they wouldn't trigger properly, or and that was a proper game that you could live in forever. And I use that term a lot for these games, but for Daggerfall that was really the case. Simply because you could spend most of your time travelling between towns and doing missions just to level up your guild, you know. And you'd get benefits for doing that, for being in there. And if you didn't keep up with those guild quests, you'd lose reputation, and so you had a real incentive to kind of engage with that part of the world and that part of the game. Oh yeah. Most of the mechanics that would become staples in the Elder Scrolls were actually developed in Daggerfall. I don't want to know why there's another troll regenerating. Out of here. Let me see if I can get out of here, and this is far enough away from that damn troll. I mean, for me though, I think the epiphany of the series has to be Morrowind. That is when the game went from being random and procedurally generated like this to actually being proper open world, where the actual world and all the quests in it were fully designed. So that was, although the graphics might be a bit dated by today's standards, that was really the start of the modern type of RPG where you had fully fleshed NPCs, and it would be Oblivion and Skyrim that would give NPCs day-to-day routines. So they'd be in certain places and they'd go about and they'd actually live. But the idea of having set interlinked quests and conflicts between guilds and that sort of thing all came in with Morrowind. Anyway, okay, I am going to rest here as long as I can. I'll probably do a bit of fighting in the meantime. But this has been Vane doing Let's Play Elder Scrolls Arena. If you like what you see in here, be sure to like, subscribe, share and comment. And until next time, goodbye. Let's see. Enemies are nearby. So yeah, I'm just going to sit here and carry on. Once I've fully rested. Simply because it can be a bit boring to watch me rest, so I don't really expect you to do that. Rest, rinse and kill is kind of boring, in my opinion. But then that's why it's a grind. I mean, I understand the grind's part of these games, but tell me I can't rest. Might have just wandered close and then, yeah. And for these games, I mean, especially older games, the grind is the game. That's as in that's half the fun. It's like playing a old school JRPG, turn-based game, and like say Fantasy Star or whatever. The grinding and travelling, you could, if you were skilled enough, go straight and just speedrun the quests, but the grind was the game. That's where you go building your levels, that's where you're getting stronger, that was your basic gameplay loop. So if you're trying to avoid that and cut that out, you're just like, well, why are you playing the game? Because in a way you're not. But that doesn't necessarily make it entertaining to watch. In fact, it can be quite therapeutic just to be able to go, okay, this is... The first thing is, this is all good experience, so yeah. Cursed, huh? You had a short bow, why? Oh, I don't know. I don't know why, if they had a short bow. Or they ran in for melee. I can sort of understand why they'd do it if all they're armed is with a if all they're armed with is a melee weapon. There we go, but yeah, okay. 14 hours, woo! So, if you've watched this long, I thank you. I mean, it's only really been an extra 6 minutes, but that's still 6 minutes of video that I've basically brute forced my way through. Well, more like 7, just to heal up to full. But that's half the fun. So yeah, if you've watched all the way to here, once again, this is Vane doing the Elder Scrolls Arena. If you like what you're seeing here, be sure to like, subscribe, share and comment. Please consider sponsoring me on Patreon, and until next time, goodbye.